So Daniel Craig has had a pretty good track record so far. 2 of his Bond films have been pretty great, and yeah, that also came out. But now we've come to his 4th film and the 24th film in the Bond franchise, bringing back Sam Mendes to direct and adding Christoph Waltz as the newest Bond villain, which seems to me like a role he was born to play. So is this the next Skyfall? Let's get to it.
It was me, James. The author of all your pain.
So the plot of this film more or less goes, James Bond does a thing, he goes rogue, he takes on a bad guy, and ends up learning more about his past. Sounds a bit familiar, huh? That aside, let's talk about the things I like. For one, the action in this is pretty awesome. I wouldn't say necessarily as good as in Skyfall or Casino Royale, but I'd say the action set pieces in this are better than in both of those. The part in Mexico with the whole helicopter thing was really cool, but the scene that stood out to me was the Bond versus Batista fight. I won't spoil what happens because it's the one fight that you don't really see much of in the trailer, but it's really tense and exciting, and you get to see Bond just throwing everything at this guy. The movie also looks fantastic. The direction and cinematography is beautiful. The cast is all around really great. Christoph Waltz, like I mentioned, is a really good Bond villain. Batista is a really good henchman, and that woman from Ghost Protocol was also pretty awesome. Daniel Craig returns as the unstoppable killing machine, and he's still good, despite the fact that he'd rather kill himself than play James Bond again. I will also say that the first half of this movie is awesome. There's lots of cool action, cool characters. I just really liked that first half. If that could have been maintained all the way through, this would have been better. Now for the negatives. My main complaint with this is that there's a lot of fan service. And it's not terrible when a movie has fan service, but this just felt out of place to me. As someone who isn't a huge fan of the Bond series, I mean, I've seen like 4 of the movies, a lot of this didn't work for me. Maybe a Bond fan will love this, but it was very clear that they were trying to merge the old Bond movies, with the cars and the henchmen and the stupid cheesy moments, with these new movies, more serious and dark and intense, and it just didn't land for me. I like the direction the new Bond films have gone. Sure, you can have little things in there, like, hey look, it's his old car, and hey look, it's his old gadget, but I thought these movies were supposed to be a bit darker and relatively more realistic, so throwing all that old stuff in here I thought wasn't a great move. There's also some comedy sprinkled throughout, which is fine. The other new Bond films did have that, but in this one it was more noticeable. It's more kind of goofy stuff that I felt would have fit with the older Bond films tone, but not the new ones. Alright, I'm gonna give a small example here. It is not remotely a major plot point, but if you're a diehard fan of the series, and you want to go into this not knowing anything about it, you can skip ahead about 20 seconds or so. So in this scene where Bond is in Mexico, you see in this trailer this giant building thing collapses on him, and he falls down into this hole. However, the trailer didn't show that then he just lands on a couch. Not in an awkward break leg position, just completely perfectly landed sitting down. It's a fine moment of levity, sure, but it just didn't fit the tone that most of this movie had, and that's just one example of a few. Also, there are about 2 plot twists in this. One is pretty small and one is pretty huge, but both of them are kind of obvious. However, in the end, this is a fun yet imperfect movie. There's a fair bit of fan service and slightly out of place goofy moments, but there are still a lot more things to like than dislike, especially if you're a longtime fan of the series. It started off really strong and only falls apart a little bit towards the end. Ultimately, Spectre gets an 8.2 out of 10 from me. So those were my thoughts on James Bond's latest outing. What did you think of it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.